Hello, my name is Jahnavi Patel, and my research and presentation is on microaggressions amongst female college students. Today, I will take you through what a microaggression is, the examples of microaggressions, literature review, my hypothesis, what my research entailed of, and lastly, where you can direct your questions to at the end. What is a microaggression? A microaggression is basically a statement, action, or incident regarded as an instance of indirect, subtle, or unintentional discrimination against members of a marginalized group of people, such as a racial or ethnic minority. Here are a few examples of microaggressions individuals may encounter on a daily basis. Assuming someone has a lower income job because of their race, clenching your purse or wallet when walking by an individual of color, assuming someone has violent tendencies because of their race, or even assuming someone has a lower education because of their race are extremely common examples of microaggressions. For the literature review, I have broken the studies I have analyzed into different groups. The first group entails studies that have created some sort of scale to measure microaggressions. The second group entails of researchers that use the design of interviewing in order to conduct their research. The third group includes researchers that created quantitative studies based in academic classrooms, and the last group consists of qualitative studies based on college and university campuses. The research that I have conducted is based on Nadel's study. In Nadel's study, he created the REMS scale, or better known as the Racial and Ethnic Microaggression Scale, to measure microaggressions based on focus groups that he conducted with students of color. His study had around 443 participants, and the results showed exactly how detrimental microaggressions can be for mental and physical health. Minical and Lacaquet's study was similar to Nadel's, from where they created a taxonomy based on 4 main levels: racial microaggressions, microinsult, microinvalidation, and environmental microaggressions. The results of the study clearly stated that there needs to be some sort of prerogative that helps assist students that are experiencing such harsh behaviors. Wang-Padung-Pat et al. And Lewis et al. Both conducted their studies by using interviews and focus groups. The goal for Wang-Padung-Pat's research was to provide evidence to contradict the notion that microaggressions are harmless slights. Wang-Padung-Pat hypothesized that microaggressions could cause stress within people of color, suggesting that microaggressions are not just slights, but are harmful to an individual's mental health and stability. And Lewis et al. Wanted to create a specific list of coping strategies that people of color could implement when confronted with such harmful situations. Boysen, McCabe, and Orlis all focused specifically on microaggressions that happen directly in the classroom, specifically amongst a professor and student. While Boysen and McCabe transferred their attention to the microaggressions students of color experience in the classroom, Orlis focused on highlighting the racial slights or even aggressive behaviors professors or faculty members of color have to battle every day. These experiences play a large role in shaping the view of the world that they live in and show exactly what kind of ideals the university or college values. Solorzano et al. And Murray's studies focused on unveiling microaggressions from campus life. Murray's studies even comprised a list of detrimental impacts that microaggressions have on campus and in the classroom as well. A few examples of those findings that Murray collected include prejudicing academic ability, devaluing culture and heritage, expressing Eurocentric views, disregarding income inequality, and setting low expectations for students of certain backgrounds. Lee and Hobson, Campbell and Manning, and Ong and Burrow are all qualitative studies that specifically focused on the ethical understanding of microaggressions and the critical race theory. The main focus of all 3 studies was to outline that rigorous and detrimental impact microaggressions have on mental health and how we as a population have a lot of work to do before we can claim to have reached post-racial discourse. Bringing it back to the study at hand, we hypothesized that women of color would be impacted by racial microaggressions more than white women. The independent variable would be the racial groups, and the dependent variable would be the different categories of microaggressions. Our study has been adapted from Natal's study. We recruited exactly 68 participants for this study at Meredith College. The participants were recruited through the diverse clubs and organizations that the university features. A couple of examples would be Meredith's International Association, the Arab Club, or the Immigrants Club. Any information asked about gender or racial identity was kept confidential during this survey. All participants were treated according to the ethical principles and code of conduct. We created an online survey that consisted of 46 statements adapted from Natal's study. All statements described a form of microaggression and were answered on a 5-point Likert scale. 1 meaning they have never experienced this versus 5 meaning they have experienced this multiple times at Meredith College. We compared to see which group, the white population or the BIPOC population, were more exposed to microaggressions and the different levels of microaggressions through the survey results. The graph projects the answers for 4 main questions taken from our study. Someone at Meredith told me I do not see color. Someone at Meredith College assumed that I grew up in a particular neighborhood because of my race. I was told by someone at Meredith College that people of color do not experience racism anymore. I was told by someone at Meredith College that people of all racial groups experience the same obstacles. The orange represents the BIPOC population, the yellow represents the white students. As we can see through the graph, students of color have been confronted with such microaggressions more than white students have. Yet it is also interesting that students of white origin have also heard or witnessed such microaggressions. This only clarifies that as a campus, we need to work hard to create a safer space for our students. For the discussion, our hypothesis was supported by the results of the study. Students of color experience more microaggressions than white students. As we saw with the graph, the descriptive statistics revealed differences between students of color and students that identified with the white population at Meredith College, and that works to state that all microaggressions are extremely harmful, and we as people should work together to make the campus safer for every single student. Some limitations encountered in the study was that our study was conducted with a sample size of 68. Therefore, the results may not be generalizable. If we had had a larger sample size or a larger participant group, maybe our results would have been generalizable. We only focused on females. If we had included non-binary genders or genderqueer, then the results would have been more diverse. The questionnaire was created to cater to college students, but due to keeping it a little short, there may have been important questions that were filtered out that may have impacted the study in a more profound or positive way. Another limitation might be having other confounding variables that result in the participant feeling a certain kind of way on the questionnaire. A future study implication would be to see if racial microaggressions and ethnic identity development impacts an individual's faith or spirituality, and if it really does, then how does that individual use that faith to cope with microaggressions? Thank you. You can reach me at jnpatel@email.meredith.edu if you have any questions about the studies or even questions regarding my research. Thank you.